Hello everybody, welcome to WhatCulture Gaming. I'm Scott, joined by Ben Roy.
Hello there.
Ben Roy, my son, my friend, my sir, it seems like all sorts of things are going on with Sony, and over on Reset Era Game Informer and Kind of Funny's Imran Khan, who's just a veteran of the industry at this point, has been replying to some people's comments on, initially it started last week with the whole Spider-Man thing being exclusive to Avengers, but I'll get to what he said about that, but he has followed up on some stuff, basically clarifying that the way Sony are approaching the next generation is to go third-party to third-party and lock down exclusive deals so that even when a game is multi-platform, they always have something coming to the PlayStation. So there's a few little quotes to get out the way with this. He said that there isn't a major third party out there Sony failed to approach asking what kind of deals they could work out. Some had content, some had games, some had content and games. It's not like Microsoft was not willing to offer, they just didn't want to pay the asking price because Sony approached with pretty high numbers in the first place. Now with this, I did have a bit of a Google for when they've done this in the past, and they paid $250 million to secure 1.4% of Epic after Fortnite blew up. So it's not like, it's not like they don't want to be throwing around the millions and millions. Also, the rest of that quote, he said that you can pretty much expect terms like PlayStation Advantage branding and console exclusive wording to get a lot of use in the next few years. He said next year will likely be a marathon of getting upset. Now, the last part of this is that, and this is where it gets super spurious, all of that is Imran Khan, all of that is locked down. The bit that gets more spurious is that, I was going to say prolific leaker, wannabe leaker Foxy Games, who occasionally seems to get more stuff wrong than they get right, mentioned that Sony have apparently signed a $750 million deal, an exclusive thing. But if you start searching widely for that, in the end of July, Engadget reported that Sony made $750 million between April and June. That was how much the entire PlayStation wing of Sony made. So the idea that they would spend the entire profits of Sony, of PlayStation, on securing one title, it could be something like GTA, but that seems kind of crazy. But what's your general thoughts on the exclusive stuff first?
They've been doing this. They really ramped up, because I always remember last. We can still say last year, and it's 360 was still last year, right? We're still on the cusp, where it was Microsoft going for all the big ones like Call of Duty. I remember Call of Duty being the thing, but that was only like a month or two exclusivity, and then we come over to PlayStation. Remember Destiny? Like I think a lot of their content was a year behind. Like anything a year held back is basically forever in the world of gaming. It feels like, and there's also these other odd exclusives. Like, have you ever noticed how Street Fighter 5 is still exclusive to PlayStation and 4 and never made the jump over to Xbox One or even Switch? I'm pretty sure it could run there. So it's been this sort of like weird sort of like this is mine land grab for so long. And with Sony already having their wide breadth of exclusive games as it is, if they go and get all these tendrils everywhere else, they're pretty much, as I say, they set. And if they spend all their profits and then maximize it out even more, it's just gonna be like, well, we win again, lol. And if it was something like a GTA, then they do win. Lol, forever.
Well, I've mentioned the GTA thing before when we did a podcast on this when the Spider-Man stuff blew up. But I don't know if you remember back in, it would have been like 2005, 2006, when Peter Moore was the head of Xbox before Phil Spencer. Back when he sort of unveiled the exclusive deal that they'd signed with Rockstar, that Microsoft or Xbox had signed with Rockstar, and Peter Moore just got on stage and rolled his sleeve up and he had a GTA tattoo. And it was because they were announcing, he did the same thing with Halo, but they were announcing that the GTA 4's DLC, The Lost and the Damned, and I think the Ballad of Gay Tony as well, both were exclusive, to 360 for like a year, and that was a huge thing. And I wonder how much Sony are like, we should do that again, we should do something like that, because that very much won them the generation, or helped win them the generation last time. So as much as everyone hates platform exclusive stuff, it does work.
You got to spend money to make money, and I'm one of those people that isn't really against the platform exclusive thing, because I guess like it's either the thing that I am kind of got everything, or I like to go where I go. So like if you want the Spider-Man at this point, you need to know that Spider-Man is a Sony thing. Like also Sony own the rights to him in the movie side and have done for a ridiculous amount of time now. So it's only natural that these deals coincide and create more of a sort of like brand synergy. So I think this is only going to happen more as we go on.
I think the Spidey is an interesting one, like we mentioned in a couple of other videos, because they on the screen side of it, the Hollywood side, like they can sort of dictate how his usage is going to be. But Spidey's already been in like the Lego Marvel games, or even in Ultimate Alliance 3.
Yeah.
And so it's like he does get shared around a bit. But I mean, like that whole 750 million thing, like I said, that is the most spurious thing. But at the same time, it's not like they haven't done big moves like this before. 750 is a hell of a lot of money compared to the 250 for something like Epic. But that could be how much money they've thrown at something like a Spider-Man deal to make sure that Spidey stays, Spider-Man content stays exclusive to PlayStation throughout the entire generation. That would be a hell of a get.
And also, you've got to imagine that they've got to re-up their sort of bill with Bobby Kotick soon for Call of Duty. I don't know if they do it per generation or per game, but you imagine that they'd want to get the exclusive content out of that again. First, I don't know how long those deals last, and that's also probably another reason that we've not even heard about that game really, because it's so linked to one of the. It's gonna at this point, it's gonna be so linked to one of those consoles that that is also just another massive land grab.
Call of Duty is an interesting one because even Modern Warfare still has its survival mode tied to like PS4. Like that's only going to free up and be on Xbox when the next Call of Duty is out, which was obviously what everybody was saying last year about like the idea of something being platform exclusive for that long and on an annual release cycle. That fan base just never really gets around to it because they end up buying the new thing anyway. So I think it's I don't know, like I'm all for like competition within an industry, and I think obviously there's the whole competition breeds excellence, innovation, whatever, and I do like love that stuff. I do see like obviously the frustration of it. There seem to be a lot of people boycotting Avengers because it's like, well, this is just like a bit of a dick move, regardless of like. I mean, I totally get the side that says, look, we're still paying the same amount of money for less content, because it's not like Microsoft have got out there and said, well, PlayStation's getting Spidey, but you guys are going to get something on Xbox, and I think the game's on PC as well. You're just spending the same amount of money for less of a game, which I get. That's something that I think needs to be addressed. Like if you're going to do platform exclusive content, then each platform needs something to be exclusive. But at the same time, Sony can't force people to spend money if they're throwing this much money around, because Microsoft's response hasn't been to lock something else down. They've just kind of been backing off and letting Sony just do this. But I guess at this stage, there's kind of no stopping them.
What was the last thing they did? The last thing that I can remember Microsoft doing, especially this generation, was Tomb Raider, and that basically just made me
killed that whole thing.
Give up on that franchise because I wanted to just keep playing on my console of choice. So yes, you can say at this point, at least it's not an entire game, it's a character, but obviously that character at this point is so ingrained into a lot of people and pop culture that it just seems like a massive get. It's like saying doing another GTA and then having one of the protagonists sort of like kept back. Like it's that sort of thing. Like I can see where people are coming from, but at the same time, is it Soul Calibur that also does the exclusive fighter thing?
It used to, yeah. They did it for Soul Calibur 2 and 4, I think, or 2 and 5.
If I don't know, if Xbox got someone like MODOK, even though he's in the game, if Xbox got someone on their team, Rocket Raccoon, they can have Rocket Raccoon. Do you think they'd be happier about that, or do you think it's because the PlayStation fans have won over that now people are getting so angry?
There's also the reality of like platform exclusive content is that it can never be a core part of the value proposition. Like something like the Spider-Man thing, he can only be plugged into a story that's already finished. He can't be a meaningful part of the narrative or anything else that's going to be the main reason you buy that game. Or if he is, then the Xbox owners, everybody else has been completely effed over, and then you would never trust that company again.
It's kind of like the Telltale thing where a character can die, but you keep going on, and that character that you saved has less and less importance to the point that they're just like, hello.
But that's the thing, like the way that also the Avengers, having played the beta, the way that characters just are going to be plugged into that thing going forward. Spider-Man is very much a throwaway sort of tick boxy inclusion that isn't going to feel like I said, a massive part of why you would get that game in the first place. And I wonder how much that's indicative of all the deals they've done going forward. Like if you're a third party developer, then okay, Sony approaches you and says, look, we'll pay you some money because we want to siphon off part of your game and we'll pay you however much it's going to be. You then have to analyze the fact that that's going to affect what the core of the game is and weigh all that up against multi-platform sales and things like that. And it's just, if Sony are going to pay people off, then they have to pay an amount of money that makes up for how many sales that developer could get or publisher could get on a multi-platform basis. Like it's so much money on Sony's side.
It doesn't even have to be a monetary value. It can just be the fact that they're sticking it to the other team, and that is worth the money enough to then get the one over. And then even if they, in some cynical way, if they discourage sales from anything on Xbox, then that, again, for them, they've got such a lead that I think they're going to just do what they can to keep ahead in some sinister corporate way. But then again, it's weird because that's business, and I don't know how to dance around that really.
Well, it is just cold hard business. It reminds me a little bit, or the territory we're potentially getting into reminds me of the beginning of the Epic Game Store, where they were just approaching tons of devs and publishers as well, more so the publisher side, and offering them deals that would secure the games to the Epic Store, and everyone just got incredibly annoyed because they were immediately locked down on that platform. And for me, from the outside, having grown up with platform exclusive stuff and being, I guess, completely desensitized to it, I was like, yep, that's what the industry does.
We're getting 2 Remedy games out of it that are going to be on the console, so for me, I mean, that doesn't really affect me so much. I don't think it should on the PC because they can just. I know people like their forums and their friends list, but you can just open up in the storefront. I guess with the consoles is a bit more because these are going to be like 500 odd pound boxes that you can't just switch over. Yeah, so that's probably why it's a bigger deal here. And I can see where you come from the Epic Store, but yeah, you can see the battle lines getting drawn, and we're getting very close to the launch.
Well, that's the thing is, like I said, I want as much competition within a space as possible, but you also don't want any one side to have complete dominance over the market, and that's potentially what they're going to have by just buying all sorts of exclusives. But the reality of just sheer platform, multi-platform games with platform exclusive content fundamentally means that they're not actually going to be that worthwhile. And I can't think of any examples off the top of my head where a multi-platform game with a platform exclusive piece of content was this massive selling point where it was like, oh my God, I'm going to get that version. Like one of the last times would be something like GTA, and that was like 14 years ago.
I think Destiny was the other big one because I think as from not really playing it myself, but from observing that apparently like those missions that come a year later are so going to be Saturday anyway compared to the rest of the game that they're going to be pointless playing as it is. But yeah, again, with the thing is with Spider-Man, these are deals that were made like back in the 80s that have rippled all the way here now.
1998 for Spider,
yeah. So it's a sad future that Spider-Man's probably going to stay on PlayStation forever. But again, as you've said, because he's not ingrained in the core game, hopefully your core experience of that game should be superfluous and great, and he would be a tacked on thing, even though Spider-Man is a pretty big thing to tack on to any sort of game.
Yeah, you'd think so. I mean, the more and more stuff comes out about that deal, the more about the reality of the game's development, the more it seems like Sony literally just rang up Square Enix and was like, do us a Spider-Man. And they sort of just put something together that is coming out between now and the start of 2021. But yeah, let us know what you think down in the comments below of the potential future of platform exclusive content, or rather the resurgence of it, because there was a hell of a lot of it across the 2000s. And let us know what you think down below. So for now, I've been Scott from WhatCulture.com.
And I've been Ben Roy.
I'll catch you next time. Bye.
Later.